grammar. So since we're done with um, the rules of grammar, so it's about time that we have to apply those things that you learned from the module. So I know that you all aware of the setup that we had for the class. So it's more of a self pace. So it's up to you and when you are going to to do the other modules that depends on your time. So this time, so there's a need for us to have this kind of setup. Okay, so um, for this afternoon, well, what we'll be tackling about is the sentence structure. So although all of us here are already aware of the structure of the sentence, but still there is a problem when it comes to the arrangement of words. There's still a problem with how we arrange the words in a given sentence. Okay, so I have here a shuffled words. Okay, so the dog, man, the beat. So anyone here who can create a sentence out of these words, shuffled words? Anyone who wants to try? Say your name, ah. Okay, so state your name. Okay. Okay, yes, John. Acknowledge John. Okay, John. Based on the words that we have here, what is the sentence that you can create out of these words? Okay, the dog beat the man. Okay. How about the others? There are still other sentences that you can create out of these words. Thank you, John. So John said the dog beat the man. Okay. How about the others? Any other sentence that you can create out of these words? Anyone? Hello, anyone from the group? Okay, mamimili ako. Teka. This is a disadvantage of using the Google Meet. Okay. Kung saan huminto yung aking stop. Okay. Isa kang pinagpala, Harleen. Harleen? Okay. Good afternoon, Harleen. So based on the set of words that we have here, what a sentence can you make aside from John's answer, which is the dog beat the man? Okay, the man beat the dog. Okay, very good. Okay, so according to John, it's the dog beat the man, and according to Harleen, it's the man beat the dog. Okay, so actually both are correct. The dog beat the man, and the man beat the dog. Okay. However, there is a difference on the way we create meaning out of these two sentences. So see, there is a tendency wherein if you misplace a particular word in a sentence, it changes the meaning. So it's very apparent on the first sentence says that that the object or the subject who is doing the action, which is the dog, performed the action beat. Okay, so kinagat ng aso ang tao. On the second sentence, it's quite nakakatawa because it is unusual. So it is an odd situation wherein it is the man who beats a dog. So the man beat the dog. Okay, so let's have a brief definition of a sentence. So when we talk of a sentence, it is generally defined as a word or a group of words that express a thorough idea by giving a statement or order or asking a question or exclaiming. Okay, so in a syntactic level, so when we talk of syntactic level, so that refers to the arrangement of words in a sentence. We call it the syntactic level. So we are following certain structure na dapat in a sentence, una si subject, Pangalawa si predicate. However, there is a problem sometimes when you arrange now the predicate in your sentence. Okay. This is what I mentioned a while ago. So a subject refers to the person or the topic in a sentence, and a predicate says something about the subject. Okay? So marami naman ilang beses naman na natin na encounter yung subject and predicate in a sentence. Just to give you a brief recap of that. Now, this is now the challenging part when you are arranging a word. So these are the other essential parts of the sentence that has to be taken into account in order for you to be aware of the arrangement of words. So the first one are the transitive and intransitive verbs, the direct and indirect objects. So that in simpler note, when we talk of a transitive verb, that is a verb that kaya nga transitive, transit or transfer an action to the direct object. Okay? Kumbaga sa Tagalog, may tumatanggap ng kilos. Okay? On the other hand, intransitive verb, kaya nga in means not transiting or not transmitting, there is no receiver of the action. So, yun lang yung tatandaan nyo. A transitive verb is a verb which has a receiver of the action, while intransitive verb does not have any receiver of the action. Okay? So let's continue. Okay. So, ito yung ating sinabi kanina. So, for example, the mother takes the children. So, the verb here is, nasaan yung aking pangmarka? Man. Okay. So, the verb here is takes. So, the action takes has the receiver of the action, which is the children. So, yung tumatanggap ng kilos na take is the children. Hence, takes is a transitive verb. So, in order for you to identify if it is transitive verb, you can make a question. Let's say, the mother takes who? And it answers the children. Or, halimbawa, the mother takes the book. Okay, so now we have direct and indirect object. Okay, so objects could be noun phrases that are included in the predicate. They are the things being acted upon by the verb. It means yung tumatanggap ng mga kilos. Okay, so for example, Susan bought the gift. So the verb here is bought, and the receiver of the action is the gift. In our first example here, bought is the verb, and then the receiver of the action is the gift. So the direct object here is the gift, because kaya nga from the term itself, direct object, the one that is directly receiving the action. Next is the dog caught the ball. So if you're going to look at the structure, so both of them have similar structure of the sentence. The boy spilled the milk. Okay. So the same structure, we have the verb here, and then we have the direct object here. Be particular on the arrangement of words, because as you go through magsi-sentence, ano tayo yung isa-isa natin different sentence structures. Now, okay, let's skip that part. Let's now proceed on the direct object. So it is possible in a sense that there is an indirect object which includes more information about the person or thing towards which the action is directed. Although they are also receiver of the action, in the sentence, para siyang invisible doon na tumatanggap ng kills, but it's not, the term itself, it is not directly receiving the action. For example, Susan bought what? The gift. Okay? Susan bought him the gift. So him here is our indirect object. And the gift here is our direct object. So, tingnan nyo ang arrangement ng sentence. So, lagi at laging sa indirect object is always placed in between the direct object. Pag sinabi mong Susan bought him, di ba bitin ang sentence? So, therefore, that could tell na parang may kulang sa sentence. Susan bought him. Ha? Bought him. Bought him what? The gift. And that makes the gift as the direct object. So, you can talk to yourself. Actually, kapag nag-a-analyze, pwede mo kausapin yung sarili nyo para mas maunawaan yung sentence. That is an effective way of analyzing a sentence. Halimbawa, um, he wrote, the verb here is wrote, he wrote the long letter. Okay, so here the direct object is the long letter. And the direct object or indirect object is them. Okay. Gamitin ulit natin yung structure ng pag-construct ng sentence ng question. He wrote them. Di ba bitin ulit? He wrote them what? A long letter. And that explains now that this is a direct object. Okay? Mapapansin nyo rin na usually ang mga direct object natin, mga indirect object natin ay naka-objective form of pronoun. Okay? Naka-objective form of pronoun sila. Ano ba yung mga objective form of pronoun? Halimbawa, kunyan ay he, him. Kapag her, her. Kapag they, them. This is yung subjective form ng him ay he. Ang objective form ng niya ay him. Ang subjective form ng they ay they at ang objective form niya ay them. Yung I is subjective, me is objective. Doon pa lang, you can get idea kung ano ba yung mga indirect object. Okay? So, commonly sila yung mga objective form of pronoun. Him, them, they, ay them, him, them, me, okay, you. Okay? The man gave her an ultimatum. So, the verb here is gave, and the direct object is ultimatum. And the indirect object is her. Okay? So, titigan yung maigi yung sentence structure, you can really you can see there, uh, oops, paano baburahin tong anong to, mga lines, teka lang. Well, anyway, so, you can see there um, the structure of the sentence, kung paano sila pagsunod-sunurin. Susan bought the gift him. Di ba ang pangit? He wrote a long letter them. Ang pangit pakinggan. Now, we also have complement. So, items following the linking verb are called complements. Kaya nga complements. Ibig sabihin, complementary. Kumbaga, sa Tagalog, dagdag or sinasama. Bagaman sila ay, kumbaga sa pagkain, sila ay pampadagdag ng panglasa. Pampadagdag sarap sa isang pangungusap. Okay? Complements, complementary. Mga seasonings sa sentence. So, complements modify the subject by describing it further. Bagaman sila yung mga seasonings sa isang pangungusap, they still perform a very important role because they do modify the subject of the sentence. When we talk of do modify the subject, they amplify the meaning of the statement. Okay, so among these are the so-called sense verbs, similar in terms of their function. So ano ba ang ginagawa ng linking verbs? Yung nabanggit kanina ni Junel na is, are, was, were, sila yung mga linking verbs natin. Kaya nga linking, link. So they link the idea, they link the subject to another idea. Iba sila sa mga transitive verbs, iba sila sa mga transitive verbs na may tumatanggap ng kilos. Sa sense verbs, Ang function niya is nagli-link lang siya ng idea. Halimbawa, I see the flower. See the flower. So, si see there is only just connecting the idea of the subject na nakita niya yung flower. So, that is how sense verb function. Okay? Ayan. Sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Another one I look, see, taste, feel, and sound. These are sensory verbs or what we call the sense verbs. So they are complements. Okay. Linking verb, I am a teacher. Linking verb, am. The cat was the laziest creature. The cat, laziest creature. The woman seems smart. Okay, balikan natin yon. Mapapansin ninyo na yung mga sumusunod na mga word or words after the verb, they are all adjectives. Okay? So they are all adjectives. They tell something about the subject. So in order for them to tell something about the subject, there should be a word that should connect them. Diyan papasok sina linking verbs. So ganyan yung function nila. So complement, madali lang ma-identify, is, are, was, were, am, and then mga sense verbs. Okay? So, yung mga sumunod sa kanya, we call it the complements. Okay? Sure that all of you here are particular of the different types of sentences, but still, marami pa rin nalilito sa 4 types of sentences structure at makakatulong din ito sa inyo if you will be taking your examinations, say civil service exam. Okay? So, there are some instances kasi wherein it looks correct, but looking at the structure, parang mali pala. Okay? So, and so simple sentence from the term itself, simple, it only has one independent clause. Tatandaan nyo, kapag sinabi nating one independent clause, it has one subject, it has a subject and it has a predicate. A subject may be compound. A predicate may be compound. Pag sinabi nating compound subject, halimbawa, John, Johnny, and Noel are best friends. Johnny and Noel, sila yung tinatawag nating compound noun. Maliwanag ba? Kasi yung iba may makikita lang na end. Okay, compound na. Hindi. Hindi porke may end, compound na. So, titingnan nyo rin yung structure ng sentence. Okay? Let's say compound predicate. Johnny is both smart and handsome. Smart and handsome. So, compound predicate siya, joined by the coordinator and. Titingnan nyo lagi yung subject-predicate structure. Halimbawa, sa sample sentence. So, we have here I, which is the subject, and like coffee is our predicate. Mary, which is the subject, likes tea, the predicate. The earth, which is the subject, goes round the sun, is the predicate. Mary, which is the subject, did not go to the park. So that is predicate. So simple as that. So tingnan niyo lang yung ganyan structure. Ngayon, kapag nadagdagan ng similar structure na ganyan, that makes it a compound sentence. So basically, a compound sentence is joined by a coordinator. Joined by coordinator. Okay, independent clause plus coordinator plus independent clause. There are some instances wherein in lieu of the conjunction, you can use a semicolon. Okay, toldok, kuwet, kumbaga sa Tagalog. Halimbawa, ito. I like coffee and Mary likes tea. So, looking at the structure, I, which is the subject, like coffee, which is the predicate. So, we already have one independent clause. Mary, which is the subject, likes tea, which is the predicate. Now, we have another independent clause. So, these two independent clauses are joined by the coordinator and. Okay, nakuha ba? Pangalawa, Mary, subject, went to work, predicate. John, subject, went to the party, predicate. So, it is joined by the coordinator, but. Ngayon, makikita nyo rito that before, when you are joining two independent clauses, again, when you are joining two independent clauses, put a comma, before the coordinator. Again, when joining two independent clauses, put a comma before the coordinator. In our sentence here, and is our coordinator, and we put a comma before the coordinator. It has to have a comma. Yun yung rule. Wala nang paliwanagan, basta ganyan yung batas. So, sumunod na lang kayo sa batas. Okay, para ma-promote kayong PNP chief. Ayan, di ba tama? Sumunod kayo sa batas para ma-promote kayong PNP chief. Okay? So, ngayon, you can use a semicolon in lieu of the coordinator. Kaya lang, dapat there is a clear statement that they are related. So, kapag halimbawa ay contrasting yung idea, you might use you should use siguro ng mga other coordinating conjunction. But in this case, our car broke down became last. So you see, we put a semicolon here. Halimbawa, magte-take na kayo ng exam, ang nakalagay doon ay identifying errors. So, tunog na parang tama. Tama naman. So, ang ginawa nyo, sinagutan nyo na yung E, no error. Pero, wala palang nakalagay na comma doon sa end. May naka-underline yung end. So, nagoyo kayo ng exam. So, mali na kayo agad. Kasi, walang nakalagay na comma. So, yung error doon sa sentence na yun, halimbawa, I like coffee, tapos walang comma. Then, yung error doon ay yung end. So, yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na tricky part sa examination. If you're not particular with the structure of the sentence, just like this one that I am presenting to you. Okay? May mga lumalabas na ganyang mga tricky part sa mga examination, especially again if you will be pursuing your civil service examination. Now, dito sa complex sentence, it's a combination of a dependent clause and independent clause joined by the different subordinators. Okay, which does not express a complete thought. Okay, bagaman they do not express a complete thought, lagi at lagi yung tatandaan na dapat merong subject-predicate structure. Again, dapat laging merong subject-predicate structure. Kasi pag walang subject-predicate structure, sa dependent clause, hindi po siya clause. Isa lamang siyang phrase. Halimbawa, we missed our plane. So the subject here is we, missed our plane is predicate. So mayroon tayong subject predicate structure. Therefore, it is a clause. Now, it is an independent clause kasi we missed our plane is expressing a complete thought. Now, in our second clause, because we were late. If you're going to remove this part, because we were late, fragmented ang sentence. Sentence fragment kung tawagin natin. Fragmented ang sentence. Because we were late, it does not express a complete thought. Okay? Now, ano nakaapekto? Yung subordinator na because. Now, bakit siya clause? Disregarding because. Tingnan natin to. We is a subject where late is predicate. Yan yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na bagaman siya ay hindi nag-express ng complete thought, there has to be a subject-predicate structure preceded by a subordinator. Okay? Halimbawa, we missed our plane because of him. We missed our plane because of him. Of him. Now, of him. Okay? So, gumamit tayo ng because. Hindi porke may because diyan, dependent clause na 'yan. Ngayon, tingnan mo, may subject predicate structure ba after ng because? May sasagot? May gusto sumagot? Ha? Meron bang subject structure after ng because? Hmm? Okay. So, wala. Of him. It's not a clause. It is a phrase. Specifically, a prepositional phrase. Kasi, introduced by the preposition of. Therefore, yung mga ganyang structure, hindi siya ah, dependent clause. So, kapag yan ay we miss our plane because of him, yan po ay simple sentence. Pero kapag ang sentence mo ay we miss our plane because we were late and and which was preceded by the subordinator because has a subject predicate structure, hence that makes it a dependent clause. Now, if you're going to notice, if in compound sentence, if we are joining two independent clauses joined by the coordinator, we put a comma before the coordinator. Dito, we do not put a comma before the subordinator. Okay? Again, we do not put a comma before the subordinator. Unless ganito ang structure nyo. Kapag inuna mo si dependent clause, maglagay ka ng comma. Tapos, ikabit mo si independent clause. Halimbawa, because we were late, comma, we missed our plane. Okay? Kapag hindi ka naglagay ng comma doon, ang tawag doon ay comma splice. Okay, now, dito tayo sa pangalawang structure. Our dog barks. Okay? It is an independent clause kasi meron tayong subject, meron tayong predicate. Okay, our dog barks. She hears a noise. Now, meron tayo ritong, it's not actually a subordinator. Ang tawag natin dyan ay relative pronoun. Relative pronoun. Okay, so, sino-sino yan? Sino when, who, which, that, where. Mga relative pronouns sila. Bagaman sila ay relative pronoun, ang function nila ay subordinator. Subordinator. They may not be similar in form, but they are similar in function. Okay? So, when functions as a subordinator in this sentence. So, our dog barks when she hears a noise. So, right after the subordinator when, or right after the relative pronoun when, you notice na meron tayong subject and predicate structure. Hence, this is a dependent clause. Removing this part, when she hears a noise, di ba hindi kompleto yung thought? That makes it a dependent clause. Aside from the fact that we followed a certain structure, again, a structure that is following the subject predicate introduced by the subordinators or relative pronoun. Now, next, he left in a hurry. He is the subject. Left in a hurry is our predicate. After he got a phone call, so our subordinator here is after. So he got a phone call. Again, meron tayong subject predicate structure. He got a phone call predicate. Okay? Pag sinabi mong he left in a hurry after him, it is no longer a dependent clause. It's no longer a clause. Kasi after, after ng subordinator na after, wala naman tayong S plus P structure. Wala tayong subject predicate structure. Hence, it is not considered as a clause. Therefore, it is more of a simple sentence. Okay? So, ano-ano ba yung mga iba't ibang uri ng subordinating conjunctions? So, ito yung mga commonly used. After, although, as, because, before, how, if, once, since, then, that, though, till, until. The relative pronouns such as when, where, and another subordinators, whether, while, which, who, whom, whose, etc. Okay, so these are the commonly used subordinating conjunctions and relative pronouns. Okay, now compound complex sentence is a combination of at least two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. Okay, so pinagsama na natin yung compound tsaka complex. Halimbawa, John didn't come. John is an independent clause dahil meron tayong subject, predicate, structure. Because he was ill, introduced by the subordinator because. And after that, we still have here a subject, predicate, structure, and another independent clause. So, because so is a coordinator. So, it's a coordinator. And then after that, we have the subject, predicate, structure. Again, we put a comma before these coordinators. If you're just going to look at the sentence, we have one, two, two independent clauses and one dependent clauses. Hence, it is a compound complex. Now, second statement, he left in a hurry. He, subject, left in a hurry, predicate. Joined by the subordinator after. He got a phone call. We have another subject predicate structure after the subordinator after. And then we have another structure here. He came back 5 minutes. He, subject, came back 5 minutes later, predicate. Therefore, it is an independent clause joined by the coordinator but, and we put a comma before the coordinator. So how many independent clauses we have? So we have one, two. Two independent clauses and one dependent clause. Hence, this is a compound complex sentence. Again, do not just base it on the length of the sentence. Yung iba kasi bang haba-haba ng sentence, ginagawa agad compound complex. So do not base that in a do not base it on the length of the sentence because sometimes it's tricky. Okay. Okay, tingnan natin.